Okay, let's put in our sales copy now. So we'll go to Pages, and then we'll go edit our page here. Okay, now let's take this out of here. And then, now you can, if you're designing from scratch, you can do it right in here. If you already have a sales copy that you want to paste in, if you had somebody write it for you, you wrote it externally, which is actually easier to do. Write it externally and then bring it in here afterwards. Okay, so this is our editor, and right here, if you click on this, this is the kitchen sink, and it brings up some more options for you that you can use. Okay, so what we can do now is we go and get our sales copy. Now, if we open up our site, what we can actually do, first thing we're going to do to emulate this, we'd put our image to the left here. So we'd go back, we could just do this right here, click on that, and this allows you to paste an image right in that spot. Okay, so let's go back here to Images and JPEG, and then we have different cover sizes here. I'm going to use 350 in this case, but whatever you've got there. So we go down here, and we're going to do full size, and we're going to align to the left, and we're going to click none here because we don't want the URL being clickable. Okay, and then giving it the link juice again, so put in a keyword or key phrase for the title and alternate text here. Okay, and then we're going to insert into post. Okay, so here it is. Now you'll see that we aligned it left, so our text should actually go right to the right here. Now we probably should have put some text in first. It acts a little funny sometimes with WordPress, so what you could do is just go over to HTML here and just put in some text just as a placeholder. Okay, and as you see, it is aligning to the left like we want. Okay, so then you could go ahead and type in your text, or we can go over here and we could grab this and copy. Okay, and then just paste it in here. Control V is a paste. Okay, now the first thing we should do, since it's already formatted on a page I'm using, we should unformat it. So just come over here where it says H1 and change it to a paragraph. Okay, and then you can better work with this, okay, and get it to fit. So if we were to preview this now, let's go over and preview the changes. Okay, here you see what it looks like. Now we can go ahead and change the formats on it. However, the formats that are with the Qubit theme are not the same as what we have on the sales page here. For instance, this H1 tag here produces this color in this size, in this font. Okay, so if you want to change the fonts within WordPress, then you can go to the style sheet and you can change them. Let me open my other instance here. If you go to the style sheet and you roll down until you see the H1, H2, and so on, just roll down here. Okay, so here we have, there's a font called Small. It tells you what the font family is. Header 1, Header 2, Header 3. Font family is Trebuchet, MS, Lucidia, Grande, Verdana, Arial, Sans Serif. So what that means is it'll start with this one. If your browser can't handle it, it moves to the next one. Okay, so you can change the order of these if you want, and so on. Okay, so if you're familiar with style sheets, you can come in here and you can change things here. Okay, so here's our H2 tag, font size, okay, and so on. So what we could do instead is you can go and you can set the font right inside here. Now to do that, we would have to go and put a little bit of code in. So you have to go to HTML, and then you could do div, which stands for divider, so div, and then style. And then you can style it how you want here within the div tags. Okay, now if you don't know how to do that, you could download a free web editor called Composer, like this. Okay, and then we could put in some text here. Okay, and then let's say we want to go to make this a font format font, and we want to make it Verdana, and we want it to be red-ish, like this, and then we can make it a certain size here, whatever we want to do. Okay, and then we won't put H tags in there. So if we were to go look at this now, we'd see that we have a span style. We can just, instead of putting the span, we could just take this part, okay, and put it in the div. Now you can also use the span if you want, but you have to, the spans are really for a single block, whereas a div you can have multiple paragraphs in there. So if we go back now and we put this in front of the text here, so right after div there, we paste that in. So we have div style equals, and so on and so on. Okay, now if we go back to the end of this and we do /div, this whole block now will take the format of that. Okay, so there it is. It's now in the format that we just gave it. Okay, so this is how you can change the text within the page itself, within the editor. Okay, now we'd probably want to make that bigger and so on. But that's how you can do it if you don't want to keep with the formatting that is within WordPress. Okay, so that's how you can do some custom formatting. I just wanted to show you that. It's getting a little complex, but I thought I'd show you it anyway. Okay, so if you're good at CSS, or if you want to use your editor here, you could go and we could, for instance, if we were to make this big, and we were to look at this now. Okay, so we have a big in front of there now. Big. So that's what that does. It'll make it bigger. And if you pasted that in there, the text would look like this. All right, so that's how you can do that. Let's just go back here. Let's make this into an H2. Okay, let's do a preview. Okay, and there it is there. Okay, so basically you just keep going with that now. We're just going to use the default themes here. Now the other thing we could do, if we wanted to color this, we could go over here now and we could change the color here. You can also go into this and then you can use the palette. Let's say we wanted this color. Now if we were to preview. Okay, now we have something that looks more like we started with originally there. Okay, so you can mess around with things doing it that way. Alright, and then we could continue with our sales copy here. Etc., etc. Okay, let's just go from here. So paste it in there. Do a preview. Okay, so that's how it works. Now, you'll notice that we're right up to the edge here on both sides. That can be fixed by setting the padding. Now, I gave you a snippet of code called widecolumn.txt. It's a text file. In here it says, note, set the width to -20. So our width of our site is 650. So I need to set the width to 630. Don't touch anything else here. Just put this to the width you're using, which is the width of your banner, -20. Okay, then take this whole thing, copy it. Now go back to where you are your CSS. So go into the editor, and as soon as you come into the editor, you end up in the CSS. Now look for wide column, and you're going to paste this right underneath where it says dot wide column. Anything starting with dot is a class. Okay, so we're going to go roll down till we see dot wide column. Here it is here, dot wide column. Right under this, just paste the code I gave you in here. Make sure you've adjusted the width to be 20 under. Let's update. Now let's go back to our site here and let's refresh. Okay, you see that we now have our margins adjusted so that it's fitting easily in there. Okay, and then the rest of it is fairly straightforward. What you're going to do is you're going to put any tables that you have. If we go to our site here, we have a table. Now what we would do is we would copy the source of that table in. So if we were to copy this table in down here, okay, so that's how it's going to show up. So we could just center this. Okay, and if you know how to make a styled table, you could put it right around there. Otherwise, right under here, you could just, put something like this. Okay, and then we could copy this down here. Okay, so if you don't know how to use CSS, this is how you can do it, like that. Okay, so if we were to preview this now, okay, so we could do something like that, and we could have bolded that. Okay, and then the other thing is at the bottom you're going to put in your payment buttons. You might be putting in an opt-in form. Whenever you're putting in JavaScript for an opt-in form, you would do it in HTML. So you'd go to where you want it, go over to HTML, and then just paste the script down underneath here. Okay, and that would put in your form code. And then for your payment buttons, again, what we would do is we would go back to the editor here, or back to this. We'd go into our folder, and we'd go and get our payment button, order button in this case, pop it in here. Okay, and then same thing again. Put in the search engine stuff and then insert into post. Now we want to put this in the center. Okay, and then you would put your link to PayPal right here, so you could just click on the button and then get your payment link and put it right in here. Okay, and link to your payment provider, PayPal or whatever. Okay, so basically you just use the editor here to put the rest of your stuff in there, and when you're done you have a sales page. Let's update this. Okay, so there it is. Basically there's our sales page. This right now is just connecting to itself, but you would have your button connect to your payment processor. Okay, so there it is. There's our sales page. Okay, now in the next video I'm just going to show you how we can duplicate this table using a web editor and show you how to put it in here. And I'm also going to show you how to get your site into the root directory like I said I would. And we'll do that in the next video.